The year 2020 in anime had very few standout shonen to release. One of the diamonds that we found in the rough was a show called Jujutsu Kaisen, which was animated by Studio Mappa and originally written by Gege Akutami and published in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. This show took the anime community by storm in late 2020 and early 2021 and demonstrated to all of us watching a new side of the modern shonen atmosphere. In a landscape dominated by the superhuman societies of My Hero Academia, the mystery that encapsulates all things in Promised Neverland, the optimism that comes in a post-apocalyptic world like Dr. Stone, and the magic systems that encapsulate all of the Black Clover and its kingdoms, one shonen brought a reminiscent feel back to the pages of Jump into the screens of new shonen anime viewers. Wearing its inspirations on its sleeve, a show that takes all of the best elements of Bleach and combines it with all of the feelings of Hunter x Hunter and puts it all into one curse-filled story filled with overpowered mentors, forging relationships, and a conflict between a man and a monster. Today I want to talk about the perfection of the shonen formula, Jujutsu Kaisen. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Cardiac K. We're back here with another video. I know y'all like that intro. I fuck with it too. I appreciate y'all voting on that poll. If you follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter for information on when videos are coming out, my ideas for next videos, and sometimes polls like that. Like I was asking people when y'all want the video, and y'all said this video. I appreciate that. I've been working relatively hard on that intro, and then of course all the videos in the making and such. Thank you for all the support. I'm genuinely happy and excited to come on these videos and get to talk to you guys about what I'm passionate about, and I just want to thank y'all for all the support that you all have been giving me. This will be the last time I'm saying this. No more basketball content on this channel. I apologize to anyone who is coming here for that. So that's that. Again, thank you for the support. And on to the video. So jumping into the anime talk, I want to start off with the plot and the story of the series. Jujutsu Kaisen isn't jumping off the page in terms of how to write a story or anything, but it's also not as bad as some starting off points, such as what some people say about Demon Slayer, which is completely bare bones in the beginning. Jujutsu Kaisen has a lot more layers to its story that it puts in place. It does a lot early on to establish the power systems. When it comes to curse techniques, cursed weapons, it implements all of these into the story relatively quickly. And of course, in the first few episodes, shows us different parts of the Jujutsu sorcerer world when it comes to Jujutsu tech, when it comes to just the different curse techniques as we see from Megumi. And then early on in season 1, it shows us a lot of just the inner workings of the Jujutsu Kaisen world that we're walking into. And it's good because, you know, as all shonens do for the most part, we are looking through the lens of someone who's also new to this world, through Yuji, who's just now being introduced to all of this. And it's a good jumping off point for the plot in general and just the general world building and the story of Jujutsu Kaisen. It also does an amazing job when it comes to power scaling. Early on, as we can see, Gojo fight, and then later on the three kids fight in the dungeon type thing. There's a clear power difference between the tops of the verse and the characters that we're following for the most part, and that is made evident through not only the techniques, not only the villains, but also just the eye test. The anime does an amazing job at the choreography when it comes to the fights, the fluidity between the movements and such. All looks beautiful, and each and every character has their own distinctive way of fighting. It doesn't feel like copy and paste type beat. It doesn't feel copy and paste at all, and it's honestly just amazing to watch, and introduces us to the potential of family lineage connected abilities. A very good jumping off place for the idea of domain expansions, which are explored throughout all of season 1, and it's all just the stepping stones for the future. One of the things that is pure example of just how many building blocks are put in place for the story originally is through the characters. And starting with Yuji as the main character, he's relatively underwhelming protagonist, to say the least. He's not the Asta, but he's also not like super boring or anything. He has his goals, he has his motives. Granted, a lot of people criticize his goals for being like basic or unfounded. It's like, we don't know your grandfather. It doesn't really seem like you care about your grandfather like all that, like it didn't destroy your life or anything. So why is this one thing that he says on his deathbed affecting you so much? And to be honest, I don't know still, and I've read the manga, but it comes across very Ichigo-like, which is why in the introduction I said the series is very reminiscent of Bleach. A lot of the things that Bleach has in place with its story, its characters and such. And Yuji is a pure example of that, as I believe that he is on the same side of the coin as Ichigo in terms of having a relatively, I guess you could say, basic goal when it comes to why he is involved in the story. But through that, you can create a multitude of stories that promote that basic morality that he has and twists and turns it into interesting situations, similar to someone like Spider-Man, who notably has relatively simple goals. Most of the time, his actual like crime fighting or stopping and stuff has to do with the fact that he believes he has a responsibility to do so. And that can also be tracked to Yuji with his feeling of responsibility of, okay, I ate this finger, Sukuna's inside of me, pause. I have to do this. Only I can do this. Nobody else has the physical traits as me when it comes to just natural abilities of apparently being fucking Superman in the series. Jesus Christ. But one person that comes close to him in terms of ability, at least early on in the story, is Megumi. And honestly, I don't have much to say about Megumi. He's cool as fuck. He reminds me of an older and just calmer Sasuke, and I like that. And I hate to compare these guys to like other characters, this series to other series, because I know a lot of JJK fans hate that, and y'all can dislike the video if you want. But at the end of the day, like I said, it wears its inspirations on its sleeve. Not to say that it's just a copy of everything, but you can see the inspirations in not only the character designs, but also some of the writing and such. Granted, there's been like decades of shonen to go off by, but I mean, JJK, it wears on its sleeve, and it does amazing in its own right, and I'll get more into that in the manga section because I think the manga is just immaculate. But going on to the next group of characters, Nobara. She has all the makings and all the beginnings to actually be a good female shonen character, and that's very rare within the pages of Shonen Jump, as a lot of these mangaka, I won't say don't understand how to write a female character, because I necessarily don't neither, but I'll definitely say that we have seen our fair share of examples of badly written shonen characters, and it's good to see that Nobara has all the beginnings to one. She is not this overly proud, overly strong, or overly annoying female character. She isn't tied down to a love interest within the story. She isn't tied down to her looks completely at all times or anything. She's not objectified by the story or by any characters in the story, not one bit. Despite the immaturity that comes from characters like Todo and Yuji at times, Nobara is never the center of attention for those jokes or those things that those characters are speaking of. Then we go to Gojo. He's overpowered. There's nothing else to say. He's cool. He's a cool mentor. He's a cool guy. He's in the way that the story restricts him in some ways and forms and such, because they have to. And also the inklings of his general importance to the story in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and also the active role that he plays in the actual world and lore itself is very interesting. Now we get to two of my favorite characters after watching the anime. And one of them is Junpei. And you guys knew that I was going to talk about Junpei. Biggest fake out in 2020, as that opening broke me after I witnessed the event of the anime, in which everything that we saw in the 90-second opening of Jujutsu Kaisen was a facade. It was a lie. As someone who was coming in blind into the story, who had never heard of it before, had never heard of any of the events of the story of the manga before, seeing that opening and then learning about Junpei's story and then watching that entire arc, the versus Mahito arc, which is amazing. It's sad, but it's also great seeing Junpei as the perfect example of someone who suffers due to the existence of curses in this world, because you have him at school who was already getting these teases and such, and you add the existence of these negative thoughts and emotions transpiring into cursed energy and transpiring into cursed spirits being attracted to him and him being manipulated by all of this. It just gets worse and worse for him, and then manipulation of the mind and the soul gets introduced with him being guided by Mahito on one side and being cared for and invested in by Yuji on the other, and his importance to Yuji during the versus Mahito arc with his subsequent turning into a cursed spirit, breaking Yuji and forcing him to go haywire on Mahito, which brings me to Mahito. The embodiment of chaos in this series, honestly, is perfect for the way that the series is set up. Like I said earlier, Yuji's actual morals and Yuji's actual goals are bare bones, but it gives amazing room and opportunities to develop an equally and opposite basic villain like Mahito, who is just the embodiment of chaos, the embodiment of evil in this world. Because of that, it forces Yuji, who is someone who basic and predicated in saving people, giving people second chances, wanting to see the good side in people, not wanting to kill people, forcing him to come to terms with the fact that this is an irreversible evil. This isn't a person. This is a spirit that you have to eradicate. And facing Yuji with that for the remainder of this story, regardless of the fake out deaths, I understand. Logically speaking, it's probably annoying that he's not dead in the anime. Trust me, it gets even more annoying in the manga. And it's just so amazing. Plus, you add the tension of him potentially teaming up with a Sukuna possessed Yuji, and that just makes it even more interesting within the arcs that Mahito is featured in. And like I said, the action in this show, the fights with Nanami, the fights with Mahito, the fights with Volcano Head, the fights with Gojo, of course, it's all animated with such beautiful fluidity within the motions, such imagery in the curse techniques and the power system, that it perfectly portrays whatever the manga is trying to show, whatever the manga is trying to say, and actually accelerates it and promotes it in a way that's very engaging, and like I said, one of the best animated shows in 2020. So if you haven't, give JJK a watch. If you have, that's what I have to say about the anime. And now we're getting to the manga. Hey guys, Future Cardiac here. I really wanted to get this video out within not too horrible of a timely matter. My plan after the second video was to release this in 2 weeks, because I am doing research for a bigger video that will conclude this entire series of looking at the 3 horsemen of Shonen Jump, as I call them. But I wanted to end this video here as I was looking at the manga section, and I wasn't really analyzing anything, to be honest. I was just kind of talking about things I liked and saying it was cool, it was good, and moving on. And I don't feel like that really adds any insight or enjoyment to the series or to this video. Therefore, I'm cutting it out, and we'll probably discuss the manga on a later matter, especially when the movie comes out, Volume 0. Go watch that when it comes out, because that story is amazing. So yeah, this will be the end of the video. I hope that you all enjoyed the anime section, and stay tuned for my next video, which will either be in a week or 2 weeks, and hopefully I will be able to put out some quick videos in between, because I was finally able to get some video game footage this past weekend. Yay! So look out for my next video. It will be on the reality of Shonen Jump, discussing the current state of affairs within the magazine. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. I hope that you all had an amazing Thanksgiving and have a good day. Peace.